translation of Sahih Bukhari, Book 11, Call to Prayers. Adhaan. Volume 1, Book 11, number 577, narrated Anas. The people mentioned the fire and the bell. They suggested those as signals to indicate the starting of prayers, and by that they mentioned the Jews and the Christians. Then Bilal was ordered to pronounce Adhaan for the prayer by saying its wordings twice, and for the Iqama the call for the actual standing for the prayers and rose by saying its wordings once. Iqama is pronounced when the people are ready for the prayer. Number 578, narrated Ibn Umar, when the Muslims arrived at Medina, they used to assemble for the prayer, and used to guess the time for it. During those days, the practice of Adhaan for the prayers had not been introduced yet. Once they discussed this problem regarding the call for prayer. Some people suggested the use of a bell like the Christians, others proposed a trumpet like the horn used by the Jews, but Umar was the first to suggest that a man should call the people for the prayer. So Allah's Apostle ordered Bilal to get up and pronounce the Adhaan for prayers. Number 579, narrated Anas, Bilal was ordered to repeat the wording of the Adhaan for prayers twice, and to pronounce the wording of the Iqamas once except Qad Qamat as-Salat. Number 580, narrated Anas bin Malik, when the number of Muslims increased they discussed the question as to how to know the time for the prayer by some familiar means. Some suggested that a fire be lit at the time of the prayer and others put forward the proposal to ring the bell. Bilal was ordered to pronounce the wording of Adhaan twice and of the Iqama once only. Number 581, narrated Abu Kalaba, Anas said, Bilal was ordered to pronounce the wording of Adhaan twice and of Iqama once only. The sub-narrator Ismaili said, I mentioned that to Ayub and he added to that, except Iqama that is Qad Qamat as-Salat which should be said twice. Number 582, narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, when the Adhaan is pronounced Satan takes to his hills and passes wind with noise during his flight in order not to hear the Adhaan. When the Adhaan is completed he comes back and again takes to his hills when the Iqama is pronounced, and after its completion he returns again till he whispers into the heart of the person to divert his attention from his prayer and makes him remember things which he does not recall to his mind before the prayer, and that causes him to forget how much he has prayed. Number 583, narrated Abdul Rahman, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri told my father, I see you liking sheep and the wilderness. So whenever you are with your sheep or in the wilderness and you want to pronounce Adhaan for the prayer, raise your voice in doing so, for whoever hears the Adhaan, whether a human being, a jinn or any other creature, will be a witness for you on the day of resurrection. Abu Sa'id added, I heard this narration from Allah's Apostle. Number 584, narrated Humayd, Anas bin Malik said, whenever the Prophet went out with us to fight in Allah's cause against any nation, he never allowed us to attack till morning, and he would wait and see if he heard Adhaan he would postpone the attack, and if he did not hear Adhaan he would attack them. Anas added, we reached Khaybar at night, and in the morning when he did not hear the Adhaan for the prayer, he the Prophet rode and I rode behind Abi Talha and my foot was touching that of the Prophet. The inhabitants of Khaybar came out with their baskets and spades, and when they saw the Prophet they shouted, Muhammad! By Allah, Muhammad and his army! When Allah's Apostle saw them, he said, Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Khaybar is ruined. Whenever we approach a hostile nation to fight, then evil will be the morning of those who have been warned. Number 585, narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Allah's Apostle said, whenever you hear the Adhaan, say what the muaddin is saying. Number 586, narrated Isa bin Talha, that he had heard Muawiyah repeating the words of Adhaan up to wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, and I testify that Muhammad is Allah's Apostle. Number 587, narrated Yahya as above. 586 and added, some of my companions told me that Hisham had said, when the muaddin said, Hayya alas salat, come for the prayer, Muawiyah said, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, that is, there is neither might nor any power except with Allah, and added, we heard your Prophet saying the same. Number 588, narrated Jabir bin Abdullah, Allah's Apostle said, whoever after listening to the Adhaan says, O Allah, Lord of this perfect call of not ascribing partners to you and of the regular prayer which is going to be established, kindly give Muhammad the right of intercession and superiority and send him on the day of judgment to the best and the highest place in paradise which you promised him, then intercession for me will be permitted for him on the day of resurrection. Number 589, narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, if the people knew the reward for pronouncing the Adhan and for standing in the first row in congregational prayers and found no other way to get that except by drawing lots, they would draw lots. And if they knew the reward of the Zuhr prayer in the early moments of its stated time, they would race for it, go early. And if they knew the reward of Isha and Fajr morning prayers in congregation, they would come to offer them even if they had to crawl. Number 590, narrated Abdullah bin al-Harith, once on a rainy muddy day, Ibn Abbas delivered a sermon in our presence, and when the muaddin pronounced the Adhan and said, Hayya alas salat, come for the prayer, Ibn Abbas ordered him to say, pray at your homes. The people began to look at each other surprisingly. Ibn Abbas said, it was done by one who was much better than I, that is the Prophet or his muaddin, and it is a license. Number 591, narrated Salim bin Abdullah, my father said that Allah's Apostle said, Bilal pronounces Adhan at night, so keep on eating and drinking suhr till Ibn Maktum pronounces Adhan. Salim added, he was a blind man who would not pronounce the Adhan unless he was told that the day had dawned. Number 592, narrated Hafsa, when the muaddin pronounced the Adhan for Fajr prayer and the dawn became evident, the Prophet ordered a 2-rakat light prayer sunnah before the Iqamah of the compulsory congregational prayer. Number 593, narrated Aisha, the Prophet used to offer 2 light rakat between the Adhan and the Iqamah of the Fajr prayer. Number 594, narrated Abdullah bin Umar, Allah's Apostle said, Bilal pronounces the Adhan at night, so keep on eating and drinking suhr till Ibn Maktum pronounces the Adhan. Number 595, narrated Abdullah bin Mas'ud, the Prophet said, the Adhan pronounced by Bilal should not stop you from taking suhr, for he pronounces the Adhan at night, so that the one offering the late night prayer tahajjud from among you might hurry up and the sleeping from among you might wake up. It does not mean that dawn or morning has started. Then he, the Prophet, pointed with his fingers and raised them up towards the sky and then lowered them towards the earth like this. Ibn Mas'ud imitated the gesture of the Prophet, as he gestured with his 2 index fingers which he put on each other and then stretched them to the right and left. These gestures illustrate the way real dawn appears. It spreads left and right horizontally. The dawn that appears in the high sky and lowers down is not the real dawn. Number 596, narrated Aisha, the Prophet said, Bilal pronounces the Adhan at night, so eat and drink suhr till Ibn Maktum pronounces the Adhan. Number 597, narrated Abdullah bin Mughal al-Mazani, Allah's Apostle said thrice, there is a prayer between the 2 Adhans, Adhan and Iqamah, and added, for the one who wants to pray. Number 598, narrated Anas bin Malik, when the muaddin pronounced the Adhan, some of the companions of the Prophet would proceed to the pillars of the mosque for the prayer till the Prophet arrived, and in this way they used to pray 2 rakat before the Maghrib prayer. There used to be a little time between the Adhan and the Iqamah. Shuba said, there used to be a very short interval between the 2, Adhan and Iqamah. Number 599, narrated Aisha, Allah's Apostle used to pray 2 light rakat before the morning compulsory prayer after the day dawned and the muaddin had finished his Adhan. He then would lie on his right side till the muaddin came to pronounce the Iqamah. Number 600, narrated Abdullah bin Mughal, the Prophet said, there is a prayer between the 2 Adhans, Adhan and Iqamah, there is a prayer between the 2 Adhans. And then while saying it the 3rd time he added, for the one who wants to pray. Number 601, narrated Malik bin Huwayrith, I came to the Prophet with some men from my tribe and stayed with him for 20 nights. He was kind and merciful to us. When he realized our longing for our families, he said to us, go back and stay with your families and teach them the religion, and offered the prayer, and one of you should pronounce the Adhan for the prayer when its time is due, and the oldest one amongst you should lead the prayer. Number 602, narrated Abu Dar, we were in the company of the Prophet on a journey and the muaddin wanted to pronounce the Adhaan for the Zuhr prayer. The Prophet said to him, "Let it become cooler." Then he again wanted to pronounce the Adhaan but the Prophet said to him, "Let it become cooler." The muaddin again wanted to pronounce the Adhaan for the prayer but the Prophet said, "Let it become cooler, till the shadows of the hillocks become equal to their sizes." The Prophet added, "The severity of the heat is from the raging of hell." Number 603, narrated Malik bin Huwayrith, two men came to the Prophet with the intention of a journey. The Prophet said, "When both of you set out, pronounce Adhaan and then Iqama and the oldest of you should lead the prayer." Number 604, narrated Malik, we came to the Prophet and stayed with him for 20 days and nights. We were all young and of about the same age. The Prophet was very kind and merciful. When he realized our longing for our families, he asked about our homes and the people there and we told him. Then he asked us to go back to our families and stay with them and teach them the religion and to order them to do good things. He also mentioned some other things which I have remembered or forgotten. The Prophet then added, "Pray as you have seen me praying and when it is the time for the prayer one of you should pronounce the Adhaan and the oldest of you should lead the prayer." Number 605, narrated Nafi, once in a cold night, Ibn Umar pronounced the Adhaan for the prayer at Dajnan, the name of a mountain, and then said, "Pray at your homes," and informed us that Allah's Apostle used to tell the muaddin to pronounce Adhaan and say, "Pray at your homes" at the end of the Adhaan on a rainy or a very cold night during the journey. Number 606, narrated bin Abi Juhayfa, my father said, "I saw Allah's Apostle at a place called Al-Abta." Bilal came and informed him about the prayer and then came out with an anza and planted it in front of Allah's Apostle at Al-Abta and pronounced the Iqama. Number 607, narrated bin Abi Juhayfa, my father said, "I saw Bilal turning his face from side to side while pronouncing the Adhaan for the prayer." Number 608, narrated Abdullah bin Abi Qatada, my father said, "While we were praying with the Prophet he heard the noise of some people. After the prayer he said, 'What is the matter?' They replied, 'We were hurrying for the prayer.' He said, 'Do not make haste for the prayer, and whenever you come for the prayer, you should come with calmness, and pray whatever you get with the people and complete the rest which you have missed." Number 609, narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, "When you hear the Iqama, proceed to offer the prayer with calmness and solemnity and do not make haste. And pray whatever you are able to pray and complete whatever you have missed." Number 610, narrated Abdullah bin Abi Qatada, my father said, Allah's Apostle said, "If the Iqama is pronounced then do not stand for the prayer till you see me in front of you." Number 611, narrated Abdullah bin Abi Qatada, my father said, Allah's Apostle said, "If the Iqama is pronounced, then do not stand for the prayer till you see me in front of you and do it calmly." Number 612, narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle went out of the mosque when the Iqama had been pronounced and the rows straightened. The Prophet stood at his musalla, at his praying place, and we waited for the Prophet to begin the prayer with takbir. He left and asked us to remain in our places. We kept on standing till the Prophet returned and the water was trickling from his head, for he had taken a bath of janaba. Number 613, narrated Abu Hurairah, once Iqama was pronounced and the people had straightened the rows, Allah's Apostle went forward to lead the prayer, but he was junub, so he said, "Remain in your places." And he went out, took a bath and returned with water trickling from his head. Then he led the prayer. Number 614, narrated Jabir bin Abdullah, on the day of Al-Khandaq, the trench, Umar bin al-Khattab went to the Prophet and said, "O Allah's Apostle, by Allah, I could not pray the Asr till the sun had set." Umar told this to the Prophet at the time when a fasting person had done iftar, taken his meals. The Prophet then went to Buthan and I was with him. He performed ablution and offered the Asr prayer after the sun had set and then the Maghrib prayer. Number 615, narrated Anas, once the Iqama was pronounced and the Prophet was talking to a man in a low voice in a corner of the mosque, and he did not lead the prayer till some of the people had slept, dozed in a sitting posture. Number 616, narrated Anas bin Malik, once Iqamah was pronounced, a man came to the Prophet and detained him from the prayer. Number 617, narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, by him in whose hand my soul is, I was about to order for collecting firewood fuel and then order someone to pronounce the Adhaan for the prayer and then order someone to lead the prayer. Then I would go from behind and burn the houses of men who did not present themselves for the compulsory congregational prayer. By him, in whose hands my soul is, if anyone of them had known that he would get a bone covered with good meat or 2 small pieces of meat present in between 2 ribs, he would have turned up for the Isha prayer. Number 618, narrated Abdullah bin Umar, Allah's Apostle said, the prayer in congregation is 27 times superior to the prayer offered by person alone. Number 619, narrated Abu Said al-Khudri, the Prophet said, the prayer in congregation is 25 times superior to the prayer offered by person alone. Number 620, narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, the reward of the prayer offered by a person in congregation is 25 times greater than that of the prayer offered in one's house or in the market alone, and this is because if he performs ablution and does it perfectly and then proceeds to the mosque with the sole intention of praying, then for every step he takes towards the mosque, he is upgraded 1 degree in reward and his one sin is taken off, crossed out from his accounts of deeds. When he offers his prayer, the angels keep on asking Allah's blessings and Allah's forgiveness for him as long as he is staying at his musalla. They say, O Allah, bestow your blessings upon him, be merciful and kind to him. And one is regarded in prayer as long as one is waiting for the prayer. Number 621, narrated Abu Salama bin Abdurrahman, Abu Hurairah said, I heard Allah's Apostle saying, the reward of a prayer in congregation is 25 times greater than that of a prayer offered by a person alone. The angels of the night and the angels of the day gather at the time of Fajr prayer. Abu Hurairah then added, recite the holy book if you wish, for indeed, the recitation of the Quran in the early dawn, Fajr prayer is ever witnessed. Quran 17 verse 18, narrated Abdullah bin Umar, the reward of the congregational prayer is 27 times greater than that of the prayer offered by a person alone. Number 622, narrated Salim, I heard Darda saying, Abu Darda entered the house in an angry mood. I said to him, what makes you angry? He replied, by Allah, I do not find the followers of Muhammad doing those good things which they used to do before except the offering of congregational prayer. This happened in the last days of Abu Darda during the rule of Uthman. Number 623, narrated Abu Musa, the Prophet said, the people who get tremendous reward for the prayer are those who are farthest away from the mosque and then those who are next farthest and so on. Similarly, one who waits to pray with the Imam has greater reward than one who prays and goes to bed. Number 624, narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, while a man was going on a way, he saw a thorny branch and removed it from the way and Allah became pleased by his action and forgave him for that. Then the Prophet said, 5 are martyrs. One who dies of plague, one who dies of an abdominal disease, one who dies of drowning, one who is buried alive and dies and one who is killed in Allah's cause. The Prophet further said, if the people knew the reward for pronouncing the Adhaan and for standing in the first row in the congregational prayer and found no other way to get it except by drawing lots, they would do so, and if they knew the reward of offering the Zuhr prayer early in its stated time, they would race for it, and they knew the reward for Isha and Fajr prayers in congregation, they would attend them even if they were to crawl. Number 625, narrated Humayd, Anas said, the Prophet said, O Bani Salima, don't you think that for every step of yours that you take towards the mosque there is a reward while coming for prayer? Mujahid said, regarding Allah's statement, we record that which they have sent before them, and their traces Quran 36 verse 12, their traces means their steps. And Anas said that the people of Bani Salima wanted to shift to a place near the Prophet, but Allah's Apostle disliked the idea of leaving their houses uninhabited and said, don't you think that you will get the reward for your footprints? Mujahid said, their footprints mean their footsteps and they're going on foot. Number 626, narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, No prayer is harder for the hypocrites than the Fajr and the Isha prayers, and if they knew the reward for these prayers at their respective times, they would certainly present themselves in the mosques even if they had to crawl. The Prophet added, "Certainly I decided to order the muaddin, that is call maker, to pronounce iqama and order a man to lead the prayer, and then take a fire flame to burn all those who had not left their houses so far for the prayer along with their houses." Number 627, narrated Malik bin Huwairith, Prophet said to two persons, "Whenever the prayer time becomes due, you should pronounce Adhaan and then iqama, and the older of you should lead the prayer." Number 628, narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, "The angels keep on asking for Allah's blessing and forgiveness for any one of you as long as he is at his musalla, that is praying place, and does not do hadith, that is passes wind. The angels say, O Allah, forgive him and be merciful to him." Each one of you is in the prayer as long as he is waiting for the prayer, and nothing but the prayer detains him from going to his family. Number 629, narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, "Allah will give shade to 7, on the day when there will be no shade but his. These 7 persons are a just ruler, a youth who has been brought up in the worship of Allah, that is worships Allah sincerely from childhood, a man whose heart is attached to the mosques, that is to pray the compulsory prayers in the mosque in congregation, 2 persons who love each other only for Allah's sake and they meet and part in Allah's cause only, a man who refuses the call of a charming woman of noble birth for illicit intercourse with her and says, I am afraid of Allah, a man who gives charitable gifts so secretly that his left hand does not know what his right hand has given, that is nobody knows how much he has given in charity, and the person who remembers Allah in seclusion and his eyes are then flooded with tears." Number 630, narrated Humayd, Anas was asked, "Did Allah's Apostle wear a ring?" He said, "Yes." Once he delayed the Isha prayer till midnight, and after the prayer, he faced us and said, "The people prayed and have slept, and you remained in prayer as long as you waited for it." Anas added, "As if I were just now observing the glitter of his ring." Number 631, narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, "Allah will prepare for him who goes to the mosque every morning and in the afternoon for the congregational prayer an honorable place in paradise with good hospitality for what he has done every morning and afternoon goings." Number 632, narrated Malik ibn Buhaina, Allah's Apostle passed by a man praying 2 rakat after the iqamah had been pronounced. When Allah's Apostle completed the prayer, the people gathered around him. The Prophet or that man and Allah's Apostle said to him protesting, "Are there 4 rakat in Fajr prayer? Are there 4 rakat in Fajr prayer?" Number 633, narrated Al-Aswad, "We were with Aisha discussing the regularity of offering the prayer and dignifying it. She said, when Allah's Apostle fell sick with the fatal illness and when the time of prayer became due and Adhaan was pronounced, he said, 'Tell Abu Bakr to lead the people in prayer.' He was told that Abu Bakr was a soft-hearted man and would not be able to lead the prayer in his place. The Prophet gave the same order again, but he was given the same reply. He gave the order for the 3rd time and said, 'You women are the companions of Joseph. Tell Abu Bakr to lead the prayer.' So Abu Bakr came out to lead the prayer. In the meantime the condition of the Prophet improved a bit, and he came out with the help of 2 men, one on each side. As if I was observing his legs dragging on the ground owing to the disease. Abu Bakr wanted to retreat, but the Prophet beckoned him to remain at his place, and the Prophet was brought till he sat beside Abu Bakr. Al-Amash was asked, was the Prophet praying and Abu Bakr following him, and were the people following Abu Bakr in their prayer? Al-Amash replied in the affirmative with a nod of his head. Abu Muawiyah said, the Prophet was sitting on the left side of Abu Bakr, who was praying while standing. Number 634, narrated Aisha, when the Prophet became seriously ill and his disease became aggravated, he asked for permission from his wives to be nursed in my house, and he was allowed. He came out with the help of 2 men and his legs were dragging on the ground. He was between Al-Abbas and another man. Ubaydullah said, I told Ibn Abbas what Aisha had narrated, and he said, do you know who was the 2nd man whose name Aisha did not mention? I said, no. Ibn Abbas said, he was Ali ibn Abi Talib. Number 635, narrated Nafi. Once on a very cold and stormy night, Ibn Umar pronounced the Adhaan for the prayer and then said, "Pray in your homes." He Ibn Umar added, on very cold and rainy nights Allah's Apostle used to order the muaddin to say, "Pray in your homes." Number 636, narrated Muhammad bin Rabi al-Ansari, Ibn bin Malik used to lead his people tribe in prayer and was a blind man. He said to Allah's Apostle, "O Allah's Apostle, at times it is dark and flood water is flowing in the valley and I am blind man, so please pray at a place in my house so that I can take it as a musalla, that is praying place." So Allah's Apostle went to his house and said, "Where do you like me to pray?" Ibn pointed to a place in his house and Allah's Apostle offered the prayer there. Number 637, narrated Abdullah bin al-Harith, Ibn Abbas addressed us on a rainy and muddy day, and when the muaddin said, "Come for the prayer," Ibn Abbas ordered him to say, "Pray in your homes." The people began to look at one another with surprise as if they did not like it. Ibn Abbas said, "It seems that you thought ill of it, but no doubt it was done by one who was better than I, that is the Prophet. The prayer is a strict order and I dislike to bring you out." Ibn Abbas narrated the same as above, but he said, "I did not like you to make you sinful in refraining from coming to the mosque and to come to the mosque covered with mud up to the knees." Number 638, narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, a cloud came and it rained till the roof started leaking, and in those days the roof used to be of the branches of date palms. A comma was pronounced and I saw Allah's Apostles prostrating in water and mud, and even I saw the mark of mud on his forehead. Number 639, narrated Anas bin Sirin, I heard Anas saying, "A man from Ansar said to the Prophet, I cannot pray with you in congregation." He was a very fat man and he prepared a meal for the Prophet and invited him to his house. He spread out a mat for the Prophet, and washed one of its sides with water, and the Prophet prayed 2 rakat on it. A man from the family of Al-Jarwad asked, "Did the Prophet used to pray the Durfoin in prayer?" Anas said, "I did not see him praying the Dur prayer except on that day." Number 640, narrated Aisha, the Prophet said, "If supper is served, and iqama is pronounced, one should start with the supper." Number 641, narrated Anas bin Malik, Allah's Apostle said, "If the supper is served, start having it before praying the Maghrib prayer and do not be hasty in finishing it." Number 642, narrated Nafi ibn Umar said, Allah's Apostle said, "If the supper is served for anyone of you and the iqama is pronounced, start with the supper and don't be in haste and carry on eating till you finish it." If food was served for Ibn Umar and iqama was pronounced, he never came to the prayer till he finished it, that is food, in spite of the fact that he heard the recitation of the Quran by the Imam in the prayer. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet said, "If anyone of you is having his meals, he should not hurry up till he is satisfied, even if the prayer has been started." Number 643, narrated Ja'far bin Amr bin Umayyah, my father said, "I saw Allah's Apostle eating a piece of meat from the shoulder of a sheep and he was called for the prayer. He stood up, put down the knife and prayed but did not perform ablution." Number 644, narrated Al-Aswad, that he asked Aisha, "What did the Prophet used to do in his house?" She replied, "He used to keep himself busy serving his family, and when it was the time for prayer he would go for it." Number 645, narrated Ayyub Abu Kalaba said, "Malik bin Huwairith came to this mosque of ours and said, I pray in front of you, and my aim is not to lead the prayer but to show you the way in which the Prophet used to pray." I asked Abu Kalaba, "How did he use to pray?" He replied, "The Prophet used to pray like the sheikh of ours, and the sheikh used to sit for a while after the prostration, before getting up after the first rak'ah." Number 646, narrated Abu Musa, the Prophet became sick, and when his disease became aggravated, he said, "Tell Abu Bakr to lead the prayer." Aisha said, "He is a soft-hearted man and would not be able to lead the prayer in your place." The Prophet said again, "Tell Abu Bakr to lead the people in prayer." She repeated the same reply, but he said, "Tell Abu Bakr to lead the people in prayer. You are the companions of Joseph." So the messenger went to Abu Bakr with that order, and he led the people in prayer in the lifetime of the Prophet. Number 647, narrated Aisha, the mother of the believers, Allah's apostle in his illness said, "Tell Abu Bakr to lead the people in prayer." I said to him, "If Abu Bakr stands in your place, the people would not hear him owing to his excessive weeping. So please order Umar to lead the prayer." Aisha added, "I said to Hafsa, say to him, if Abu Bakr should lead the people in the prayer in your place, the people would not be able to hear him owing to his weeping. So please, order Umar to lead the prayer." Hafsa did so, but Allah's apostle said, "Keep quiet. You are verily the companions of Joseph. Tell Abu Bakr to lead the people in the prayer." Hafsa said to Aisha, "I never got anything good from you." Number 648, narrated as Zuhun, Anas bin Malik al-Ansari, told me, Abu Bakr used to lead the people in prayer during the fatal illness of the Prophet till it was Monday. When the people aligned in rows for the prayer, the Prophet lifted the curtain of his house and started looking at us and was standing at that time. His face was glittering like a page of the Quran and he smiled cheerfully. We were about to be put to trial for the pleasure of seeing the Prophet. Abu Bakr retreated to join the row as he thought that the Prophet would lead the prayer. The Prophet beckoned us to complete the prayer and he let the curtain fall. On the same day he died. Number 649, narrated Anas, the Prophet did not come out for 3 days. The people stood for the prayer and Abu Bakr went ahead to lead the prayer. In the meantime the Prophet caught hold of the curtain and lifted it. When the face of the Prophet appeared, we had never seen a scene more pleasing than the face of the Prophet as it appeared then. The Prophet beckoned to Abu Bakr to lead the people in the prayer and then let the curtain fall. We did not see him again till he died. Number 650, narrated Hamza bin Abdullah, my father said, when Allah's apostle became seriously ill, he was told about the prayer. He said, "Tell Abu Bakr to lead the people in the prayer." Aisha said, Abu Bakr is a soft-hearted man and he would be overpowered by his weeping if he recited the Quran. He said to them, "Tell him Abu Bakr to lead the prayer." The same reply was given to him. He said again, "Tell him to lead the prayer. You women are the companions of Joseph." Number 651, narrated Urwa's father, Aisha said, Allah's apostle ordered Abu Bakr to lead the people in the prayer during his illness and so he led them in prayer. Urwa, a sub-narrator, added, Allah's apostle felt a bit relieved and came out and Abu Bakr was leading the people. When Abu Bakr saw the Prophet he retreated but the Prophet beckoned him to remain there. Allah's apostle sat beside Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr was following the prayer of Allah's apostle and the people were following the prayer of Abu Bakr. Number 652, narrated Sahih bin Sa'd Sa'idi, Allah's apostle went to establish peace among Bani Amr bin Auf. In the meantime the time of prayer was due and the Muaddin went to Abu Bakr and said, "Will you lead the prayer, so that I may pronounce the Iqamah?" Abu Bakr replied in the affirmative and led the prayer. Allah's apostle came while the people were still praying and he entered the rows of the praying people till he stood in the first row. The people clapped their hands. Abu Bakr never glanced sideways in his prayer but when the people continued clapping, Abu Bakr looked and saw Allah's apostle. Allah's apostle beckoned him to stay at his place. Abu Bakr raised his hands and thanked Allah for that order of Allah's apostle and then he retreated till he reached the first row. Allah's apostle went forward and led the prayer. When Allah's apostle finished the prayer, he said, "O Abu Bakr, what prevented you from staying when I ordered you to do so?" Abu Bakr replied, "How can Ibn Abi Quhafa Abu Bakr dare to lead the prayer in the presence of Allah's apostle?" Then Allah's apostle said, "Why did you clap so much? If something happens to anyone during his prayer he should say Subhanallah. If he says so he will be attended to, for clapping is for women." Number 653, narrated Malik bin Huwayrith, we went to the Prophet and we were all young men and stayed with him for about 20 nights. The Prophet was very merciful. He said, "When you return home, Impart religious teachings to your families and tell them to offer perfectly such and such a prayer at such and such a time and such a prayer at such and such a time. And all the time of the prayer one of you should pronounce the Adhaan and the oldest of you should lead the prayer. Number 654, narrated Ibn bin Malik al-Ansari, the Prophet came to my house and asked permission for entering and I allowed him. He asked, "Where do you like me to pray in your house?" I pointed to a place which I liked. He stood up for prayer and we aligned behind him and he finished the prayer with taslim and we did the same. Number 655, narrated Ubaydullah ibn Abdullah bin Utbah, I went to Aisha and asked her to describe to me the illness of Allah's apostle. Aisha said, "Yes." The Prophet became seriously ill and asked whether the people had prayed. We replied, "No. O Allah's apostle, they are waiting for you." He added, "Put water for me in a trough." Aisha added, "We did so." He took a bath and tried to get up but fainted. When he recovered, he again asked whether the people had prayed. We said, "No, they are waiting for you." O Allah's apostle, he again said, "Put water in a trough for me." He sat down and took a bath and tried to get up but fainted again. Then he recovered and said, "Have the people prayed?" We replied, "No, they are waiting for you." O Allah's apostle, he said, "Put water for me in the trough." Then he sat down and washed himself and tried to get up but he fainted. When he recovered, he asked, "Have the people prayed?" We said, "No, they are waiting for you." O Allah's apostle, the people were in the mosque waiting for the Prophet for the Isha prayer. The Prophet sent for Abu Bakr to lead the people in the prayer. The messenger went to Abu Bakr and said, "Allah's apostle orders you to lead the people in the prayer." Abu Bakr was a soft-hearted man, so he asked Umar to lead the prayer but Umar replied, "You are more rightful." So Abu Bakr led the prayer in those days. When the Prophet felt a bit better, he came out for the Zuhr prayer with the help of two persons, one of whom was Al-Abbas, while Abu Bakr was leading the people in the prayer. When Abu Bakr saw him he wanted to retreat but the Prophet beckoned him not to do so and asked them to make him sit beside Abu Bakr and they did so. Abu Bakr was following the Prophet in the prayer and the people were following Abu Bakr. The Prophet prayed sitting. Ubaydullah added, I went to Abdullah bin Abbas and asked him, "Shall I tell you what Aisha has told me about the fatal illness of the Prophet?" Ibn Abbas said, "Go ahead." I told him her narration and he did not deny anything of it but asked whether Aisha told me the name of the second person who helped the Prophet along with Al-Abbas. I said, "No." He said, "He was Ali ibn Abi Talib." Number 656, narrated Aisha, the mother of the believers, Allah's apostle during his illness prayed at his house while sitting whereas some people prayed behind him standing. The Prophet beckoned them to sit down. On completion of the prayer, he said, "The Imam is to be followed, bow when he bows, raise up your head, stand erect when he raises his head and when he says, Sami Allahu liman hamida, Allah heard those who sent praises to him, say then, Rabbana wa lakal hamd, O our Lord. All the praises are for you, and if he prays sitting then praise sitting." Number 657, narrated Anas bin Malik, once Allah's apostle rode a horse and fell down and the right side of his body was injured. He offered one of the prayers while sitting and we also prayed behind him sitting. When he completed the prayer, he said, "The Imam is to be followed. Pray standing if he prays standing and bow when he bows. Rise when he rises. And if he says, Sami Allahu liman hamida, say then, Rabbana wa lakal hamd, and praise standing if he prays standing and praise sitting all of you if he prays sitting." Humayd said, the saying of the Prophet praise sitting, if he Imam prays sitting was said in his former illness during his early life but the Prophet prayed sitting afterwards in the last illness and the people were praying standing behind him and the Prophet did not order them to sit. We should follow the latest actions of the Prophet. Number 658, narrated Al-Bara, and he was not a liar when Allah's apostle said, Sami Allahu liman hamid, and none of us bent his back for prostrations till the Prophet prostrated, and then we would prostrate after him. Number 660, narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, isn't he who raises his head before the Imam afraid that Allah may transform his head into that of a donkey or his figure face into that of a donkey? Number 661, narrated Ibn Umar, when the earliest emigrants came to Al-Asba, a place in Kuba, before the arrival of the Prophet Salim, the slave of Abu Hudayfa, who knew the Quran more than the others, used to lead them in prayer. Number 662, narrated Anas, the Prophet said, listen and obey your chief even if an Ethiopian whose head is like a raisin were made your chief. Number 663, narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's apostle said, if the Imam leads the prayer correctly then he and you will receive the rewards, but if he makes a mistake in the prayer then you will receive the reward for the prayer and the sin will be his. Number 664, narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet said to Abu Dar, listen and obey your chief even if he is an Ethiopian with a head like a raisin. Number 665, narrated Ibn Abbas, once I passed the night in the house of my aunt Maimuna. Allah's apostle offered the Isha prayer and then came to the house and offered 4 rakat and slept. Later on, he woke up and stood for the prayer and I stood on his left side. He drew me to his right and prayed 5 rakat and then 2. He then slept till I heard him snoring or heard his breath sounds. Afterwards he went out for the morning prayer. Number 666, narrated Ibn Abbas, one night I slept at the house of my aunt Maimuna and the Prophet was there on that night. He performed ablution and stood up for the prayer. I joined him and stood on his left side, but he drew me to his right and prayed 13 rakat and then slept till I heard his breath sounds. And whenever he slept, he used to breathe with audible sounds. The muaddin came to the Prophet and he went out and prayed the morning prayer without repeating the ablution. Number 667, narrated Ibn Abbas, once I passed the night in the house of my aunt Maimuna. The Prophet stood for the night prayer and I joined him and stood on his left side, but he drew me to his right by holding me by the head. Number 668, narrated Mu'adh bin Jabal, I used to pray the Isha prayer with the Prophet and then go to lead my people in the prayer. Number 669, narrated Amr, Jabir bin Abdullah said, Mu'adh bin Jabal used to pray with the Prophet and then go to lead his people in prayer. Once he led the Isha prayer and recited Surat al-Baqarah. Somebody left the prayer and Mu'adh criticized him. The news reached the Prophet and he said to Mu'adh, you are putting the people to trial, and repeated it thrice or said something similar and ordered him to recite 2 medium surahs of Mufassal. Amr said that he had forgotten the names of those surahs. Number 670, narrated Abu Mas'ud, a man came and said, O Allah's Apostle, by Allah, I keep away from the morning prayer only because so-and-so prolongs the prayer when he leads us in it. The narrator said, I never saw Allah's Apostle more furious in giving advice than he was at that time. He then said, some of you make people dislike good deeds the prayer, so whoever among you leads the people in prayer should shorten it because among them are the weak, the old and the needy. Number 671, narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, if anyone of you leads the people in the prayer, he should shorten it, for amongst them are the weak, the sick and the old. And if anyone among you prays alone, then he may prolong the prayer as much as he wishes. Number 672, narrated Abu Mas'ud, a man came and said, O Allah's Apostle, I keep away from the morning prayer because so-and-so imam prolongs it too much. Allah's Apostle became furious and I had never seen him more furious than he was on that day. The Prophet said, O people, some of you make others dislike the prayer, so whoever becomes an imam he should shorten the prayer, as behind him are the weak, the old and the needy. Number 673, narrated Jabir bin Abdullah al-Ansari, once a man was driving 2 Nadiya's camels used for agricultural purposes and night had fallen. He found Mu'adh praying, so he made his camel kneel and joined Mu'adh in the prayer. The latter recited Surat al-Baqarah or Surat an-Nisa, so the man left the prayer and went away. When he came to know that Mu'adh had criticized him, he went to the Prophet, and complained against Mu'adh. The Prophet said thrice, O Mu'adh, are you putting the people to trial? It would have been better if you had recited Sabbahisma Rabbikal Allah, Quran 87, Wa Shamsi wa Duhaya, Quran 91, or Wallayli idha yaghsha, Quran 92, for the old, the weak and the needy prayed behind you. Jabir said that Mu'adh recited Surah Al-Baqarah in the Isha prayer number 674, narrated Anas. The Prophet used to pray a short prayer in congregation but used to offer it in a perfect manner. Number 675, narrated Abdullah bin Abi Qatada, my father said, the Prophet said, when I stand for prayer, I intend to prolong it, but on hearing the cries of a child, I cut it short, as I dislike to trouble the child's mother. Number 676, narrated Anas bin Malik, I never prayed behind any imam a prayer lighter and more perfect than that behind the Prophet, and he used to cut short the prayer whenever he heard the cries of a child lest he should put the child's mother to trial. Number 677, narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet said, when I start the prayer I intend to prolong it, but on hearing the cries of a child, I cut short the prayer because I know that the cries of the child will incite its mother's passions. Number 678, narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet said, whenever I start the prayer I intend to prolong it, but on hearing the cries of a child, I cut short the prayer because I know that the cries of the child will incite its mother's passions. Number 679, narrated Jabir bin Abdullah, Mu'adh used to pray with the Prophet and then go and lead his tribe in the prayer. Number 680, narrated Aisha, when the Prophet became ill in this fatal illness, someone came to inform him about the prayer, and the Prophet told him to tell Abu Bakr to lead the people in the prayer. I said, Abu Bakr is a soft-hearted man, and if he stands for the prayer in your place, he would weep and would not be able to recite the Quran. The Prophet said, tell Abu Bakr to lead the prayer. I said the same as before. He repeated the same order, and on the third or the fourth time he said, you are the companions of Joseph. Tell Abu Bakr to lead the prayer. So Abu Bakr led the prayer, and meanwhile the Prophet felt better and came out with the help of two men. As if I see him just now dragging his feet on the ground. When Abu Bakr saw him, he tried to retreat, but the Prophet beckoned him to carry on. Abu Bakr retreated a bit and the Prophet sat on his left side. Abu Bakr was repeating the takbir, Allahu Akbar of Allah's Apostle for the people to hear. Number 681, narrated Aisha, when Allah's Apostle became seriously ill, Bilal came to him for the prayer. He said, tell Abu Bakr to lead the people in the prayer. I said, O Allah's Apostle, Abu Bakr is a soft-hearted man, and if he stands in your place, he would not be able to make the people hear him. Will you order Umar to lead the prayer? The Prophet said, tell Abu Bakr to lead the people in the prayer. Then I said to Hafsa, tell him, Abu Bakr is a soft-hearted man, and if he stands in his place, he would not be able to make the people hear him. Would you order Umar to lead the prayer? Hafsa did so. The Prophet said, verily you are the companions of Joseph. Tell Abu Bakr to lead the people in the prayer. So Abu Bakr stood for the prayer. In the meantime Allah's Apostle felt better and came out with the help of two persons, and both of his legs were dragging on the ground till he entered the mosque. When Abu Bakr heard him coming, he tried to retreat, but Allah's Apostle beckoned him to carry on. The Prophet sat on his left side. Abu Bakr was praying while standing, and Allah's Apostle was leading the prayer while sitting. Abu Bakr was following the Prophet and the people were following Abu Bakr in the prayer. Number 682, narrated Abu Hurairah, once Allah's Apostle prayed 2 rakat instead of 4 and finished his prayer. Adhaan asked him whether the prayer had been reduced or whether he had forgotten. Allah's Apostle asked the people whether Adhaan was telling the truth. The people replied in the affirmative. Then Allah's Apostle stood up, offered the remaining 2 rakat and then finished his prayer with taslim and then said, Allahu Akbar. He followed it with 2 prostrations like ordinary prostrations or a bit longer. Number 683, narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet prayed 2 rakat of Zuhr prayer instead of 4 and he was told that he had prayed 2 rakat only. Then he prayed 2 more rakat and finished them with the taslim followed by 2 prostrations. Number 684, narrated Aisha, the mother of the faithful believers, Allah's Apostle in his last illness said, "Tell Abu Bakr to lead the people in the prayer." I said, "If Abu Bakr stood in your place, he would not be able to make the people hear him owing to his weeping, so please order Umar to lead the prayer." He said, "Tell Abu Bakr to lead the people in the prayer." I said to Hafsa, "Say to him, Abu Bakr is a soft-hearted man and if he stood in your place he would not be able to make the people hear him owing to his weeping. So order Umar to lead the people in the prayer." Hafsa did so, but Allah's Apostle said, "Keep quiet. Verily you are the companions of Prophet Joseph. Tell Abu Bakr to lead the people in the prayer." Hafsa said to me, "I never got any good from you." Number 685, narrated An-Nu'man bin Bashir, the Prophet said, "Straighten your rows or Allah will alter your faces." Number 686, narrated Anas, the Prophet said, "Straighten your rows, for I see you from behind my back." Number 687, narrated Anas bin Malik, once the Iqamah was pronounced and Allah's Apostle faced us and said, "Straighten your rows and stand closer together, for I see you from behind my back." Number 688, narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, "Martyrs are those who die because of drowning, plague, an abdominal disease, or of being buried alive by a falling building." And then he added, "If the people knew the reward for the Zuhr prayer in its early time, they would race for it. If they knew the reward for the Isha and the Fajr prayers in congregation, they would join them even if they had to crawl. If they knew the reward for the first row, they would draw lots for it." Number 689, narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, "The Imam is appointed to be followed. So do not differ from him, bow when he bows, and say, Rabbana lakal hamd if he says Sami Allahu liman hamida. And if he prostrates, prostrate after him, and if he prays sitting, pray sitting all together, and straighten the rows for the prayer, as the straightening of the rows is amongst those things which make your prayer a correct and perfect one." See Hadith number 657. Number 690, narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet said, "Straighten your rows as the straightening of rows is essential for a perfect and correct prayer." Number 691, narrated Anas bin Malik, "I arrived at Medina and was asked whether I found any change since the days of Allah's Apostle. I said, I have not found any change except that you do not stand in alignment in your prayers." Number 692, narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet said, "Straighten your rows for I see you from behind my back." Anas added, "Every one of us used to put his shoulder with the shoulder of his companion and his foot with the foot of his companion." Number 693, narrated Ibn Abbas, "I prayed with the Prophet one night and stood on his left side. Allah's Apostle caught hold of my head from behind and drew me to his right and then offered the prayer and slept. Later the Muaddin came and the Prophet stood up for prayer without performing ablution." Number 694, narrated Anas bin Malik, "One night an orphan and I offered the prayers behind the Prophet in my house and my mother Sulaim was standing behind us by herself forming a row." Number 695, narrated Ibn Abbas, "One night I stood to the left of the Prophet in the prayer but he caught hold of me by the hand or by the shoulder arm till he made me stand on his right and beckoned with his hand for me to go from behind him." Al-Kashmihani Fatih al-Bari. Number 696, narrated Aisha, "Allah's Apostle used to pray in his room at night. As the wall of the room was low, the people saw him and some of them stood up to follow him in the prayer. In the morning they spread the news. The following night the Prophet stood for the prayer and the people followed him. This went on for 2 or 3 nights. Thereupon Allah's Apostle did not stand for the prayer the following night, and did not come out. In the morning, the people asked him about it. He replied, that he may afraid that the night prayer might become compulsory." Number 697, narrated Aisha, "The Prophet had a mat which he used to spread during the day and use as a curtain at night. So a number of people gathered at night facing it and prayed behind him. Number 698, narrated Zayd bin Thabit, Allah's apostle made a small room in the month of Ramadan. Said, I think that Zayd bin Thabit said that it was made of a mat and he prayed there for a few nights, and so some of his companions prayed behind him. When he came to know about it, he kept on sitting. In the morning, he went out to them and said, I have seen and understood what you did. You should pray in your houses, for the best prayer of a person is that which he prays in his house except the compulsory prayers.